Welcome to Run Jump Stomp, a podcast about games because we needed another. You can find the show notes for this episode as well as other content at runjumpstomp.com. This is episode 17 for the week of June 9th, 2015. I'm Bill, your host, and this week we'll be talking about a new Star Wars game. Steam machines are available for pre-order, the World Video Game Hall of Fame, and the death of a MOBA. Those stories and more on this episode of Run, Jump, Stomp. Thanks for listening. There's only been one time that I wanted to return something on Steam. That was Final Fantasy VII. And the reason was because when it first came out, you had to sign into some ridiculous Square Enix account in order to play the game. This was not told to you on the Steam client, so what I ended up doing is I emailed Steam, and I said that I wasn't happy about the third-party account thing, and they said, no problem, we'll give you your money back even though that's against our policy. Later when that feature was removed from Final Fantasy VII, I rebought the game and enjoyed it. For the most part, getting your money back from Steam, it was not easy. You had to actually contact them, wait for them to get back to you. There was a back and forth. It took time, and it wasn't the optimal way to do things. That's all changing now. Steam is now offering refunds. There are some very specific rules that go along with these, but at least for now, their policy before was we do not offer refunds. Now they have a new policy. I'm going to go ahead and read you the quote. It says, you can request a refund for nearly any purchase on Steam for any reason. Maybe your PC doesn't meet the hardware requirements. Maybe you bought a game by mistake. Maybe you played the title for an hour and just didn't like it. It doesn't matter. Valve will, upon request via help.steampowered.com, issue a refund for any reason if the request is made within 14 days of purchase and the title has been played for less than 2 hours. There are more details to follow, but even if you fall outside the refund rules we've described, you can ask for a refund anyway, and we'll take a look. You will be issued a full refund of your purchase within a week of approval. You will receive the refund in a Steam Wallet funds or through the same payment method that you used to make a purchase. So they might not even make it so that you can't get your money back holding on to that money in their Steam Wallet. You're going to actually be able to get your money back. I mean, if I go into GameStop and I buy a game and I take it home and I decide this game is garbage, and I want to take it back to GameStop, I'm not allowed to. They're not going to return it let me return it. Because their policy is any game that's been opened is not returnable. I can sell it back to them, but that's not quite the same thing. Now, there's a very good reason for that policy. That policy is in place because they don't know. Maybe I took it home, played the whole thing, and I'm just getting my money back so I can buy another game. That's what a lot of people did back in the late 80s and early 90s, is you could buy a game, play the whole thing, return it, because they had a 30-day return policy, get your money back, and buy another game. Steam is able to do this again because they know if you've played it or not. They know how much time you've spent on it. And because they have that information, they can offer a better level of customer service. And it's really nice for us to be able to talk about Steam doing something that is pro-consumer, because recently just about every Steam or Valve-related story that I've talked about on this podcast has been, what are you guys thinking? They were doing a lot of terrible things that people were very unhappy about. And so now they're doing this. I think maybe we're going to be getting back the old Steam that we love. All right, so back to back to the quotes. They'll also allow refunds on downloadable content. It says here, Steam store content usable within another game or software application, which is DLC, is refundable within the 14 days of purchase. And if, and here's the big if, the underlying title has been played for less than 2 hours since the DLC was purchased. So you're playing Skyrim, for example, and you buy the one of the DLCs for Skyrim, but you don't play Skyrim right away. Maybe you've been busy and you don't have time to sit down and play it. Then you load it up and you find out that it's the horse armor from Oblivion. So now you can return it as long as you have only played for less than 2 hours since you bought it. This is another example of the information that's available to Valve when you play, making sure that you're not ripping people off. And I think this is great. The thing that this is going to do, it's going to get me to buy more stuff. Because sometimes I look at a game and I think, well, that looks interesting, but I don't know if it's something that I really want to put time or money into. So I'm going to skip it. Now, I know that if I download it and I get out my phone and put a stopwatch on and I say, set a stopwatch for an hour and a half. I play it for an hour and a half, and if I get to that point and I don't like the game, I can return it. Most of the time, I'm probably going to like the game because I like most games. More information on DLC. So here it says, if you use the thing that is the DLC, so let's say that I'm playing Marvel Heroes, and I buy an XP booster from Steam. If I use the XP booster, I obviously can't get a refund. That's the other part for their downloadable content. Pardon me. They also said if you have been banned by the Valve anti-cheat system on a game, you lose the right to refund that game. That's awesome as well. Valve also says that they can't provide refunds for purchases that are made outside of Steam. So if you get a CD key and you put it into Steam, then that's not going to work. Same with like Humble Bundle. Let's say I sign up for the Humble Bundle and I get a bunch of free games. I can't then turn around and return those games to Steam for money. So that's fine that's fine as well. They also said that they can't return movies or gifts. And this is the part that I love. Because there's a lot of less than honest people out there. It says, refunds are designed to remove the risk from purchasing titles on Steam, not as a way to get free games. If it appears to us that you are abusing refunds, we may stop offering them to you. We do not consider it abuse to request a refund on a title that was purchased just before a sale and then immediately rebuying that title for a sale price. So basically they're saying, hey, we understand that when you buy a game and it goes on sale right after that, that's frustrating. So we're not going to consider that cheating the system. However, if you are cheating the system, we're going to know because our computers are going to tell us, and we're going to flag your account so you can't return games anymore. So you better be honest with us. I think that Steam is doing something really cool here. All of these guidelines that they're listing out are very reasonable to me. So way to go, Steam, for getting back on the right track. With no explanation or warning, Warner Brothers and Turbine Entertainment are closing Infinite Crisis. Infinite Crisis is a MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena, and it's based on the DC Comics characters, so think Batman, Superman, Joker, etc. It was made by Turbine Entertainment, and it's the first game from Turbine Entertainment that was not an MMO. They made Asheron's Call and Asheron's Call 2. Asheron's Call, hilariously enough, is still going after 16 years. They stopped updating it, and they actually said it last, I think it was June in 2014. They said, we're no longer going to update it except for bug fixes, so don't expect new content. But Asheron's Call is still going after 16 years, so that's crazy. Now, the reason that it's really odd that Infinite Crisis is being closed down is because the game officially launched on March 26th, 2015. So the game has been out for less than 2 months. Not less than 2 months, about 2.5 months ago. Sorry, I did the math wrong. I cannot imagine why they would shut down the game after only 2.5 months. It received fairly decent reviews. I mean, they weren't glowing, and I can understand if their numbers are soft that you would be a little gun-shy about spending money, but you can't give up that fast. I mean, that's crazy. The game's out for 2.5 months, and you're shutting the servers down already? Is Asheron's Call going to be next on the chopping block because Warner Brothers, Turbine is still running that? I honestly can't understand why the developers would do this. It just seems crazy. Maybe it's really weird that it happened right after Heroes of the Storm came out. Maybe they looked at that and said, nope, we can't compete, moving on. Now, I don't know. Maybe the game was absolutely awful, but it got pretty good reviews. I haven't played it, and it seems like not many people have. The developers are doing the right thing, though. They're giving refunds to the people that supported them. They could have just said, nope, screw you, we're keeping the money. Instead, they're sending it back. So they're going to be offering refunds, and if you bought it through Steam, well, there's another refund story there for you. If you bought it through Steam, you can get the money back, and I think that was the only way to get it, but I'm not positive. So good job, Turbine. I always liked you. Now go make Asheron's Call 3, because Asheron's Call was cool. It was really cool. And if you haven't played it, at least watch some videos of it. It had a really weird... The systems in that game were weird, but that's beside the point. That's not talking about Infinite Crisis. Finishing up Infinite Crisis, it's going to be available until August 14th, so get in there and kill Superman, or Batman, or the Joker, or whoever. Alright, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to go get yourself a pencil, a piece of paper, and then I want you to think. What 6 games do you think should be in the World Video Game Hall of Fame? And then I want you to pause the podcast and write down the 6 that you choose. Did you do it? What did you pick? I don't know what I picked, because I didn't do it. Because I read the games that were actually inducted before I thought about it. So here are the games that were inducted. I'll read you the quote. The games in the inaugural class of the Strong World Video Game Hall of Fame span multiple decades, countries of origin, and gaming platforms, but all have significantly affected the video game industry, popular culture, and society in general. Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris, Super Mario Brothers, Doom, and World of Warcraft have been selected from a field of 15 finalists that also included Angry Birds. Angry Birds? That doesn't feel like... I mean, yes, there was popular culture and everything, but that seemed like a flash in the pan kind of thing. That doesn't seem like it belongs on this list. FIFA, which I'm an American, so I can't pretend to understand that. If you love soccer, FIFA's apparently the game, and most of the world loves soccer, just Americans don't. And Legend of Zelda definitely should be on that list. Minecraft should be on that list. Oregon Trail, yep. Pokemon, yep. The Sims, maybe. I would prefer like Sim City to that. Sonic the Hedgehog and Space Invaders. Now, when you look at this list and you're like, how come Zelda and Minecraft aren't on there? Or like, why did the ones that they picked get on? Now you got to remember, they can't do all of them at once. I'm sure some of the games on the list surprise you that weren't inducted. There's going to be more inductees later, I'm sure. Probably they're going to do it every year. And I'm sure that insert your game of choice here will be inducted eventually. I'm really glad that they're adding video games to this museum. Now, they already had, and this is at the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. I've been there a couple times. It's cool. They do have video games there, but now they're going to have this Video Game Hall of Fame thing, and that's kind of cool too. It's good that these games are getting the recognition that they deserve, because this is like the Baseball Hall of Fame for video game people. Like, I don't care about baseball. I'm not interested in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think that this is cool, though. So this is something that I want to go see. I want to check out the Video Game Hall of Fame and maybe play some of these games, even though I can play them at home. That still would be cool. Anyway, when you look at the list, Pong, Pac-Man, Tetris, it's like they went in order. Although Super Mario Brothers, did that come before or after Tetris? It probably came after Tetris, but Tetris was an arcade game first, maybe? I mean, I know that Tetris and Super Mario were both arcade games. I wonder what order they came in. But the other ones, it seems like they picked one from each generation and put it out there. And so maybe they'll do 6 every year. Which games do you think should be in the World Video Game Hall of Fame? Or are there any games that are on the list that you don't think should be in the World Video Game Hall of Fame? Like, should they take Doom out and put Wolfenstein 3D in there? I don't know. Should World of Warcraft be in there since people are still playing it? Although, to be honest, people are still playing Tetris all the time. They have competitions. I don't know. I think that it's really cool, and I can't wait to go to the Strong National Museum of Play. It's in Rochester, New York, and check it out. You can finally order a Steam controller. Now, you still won't get it until October or November, but you can now order one. On June 4th, they announced that you could pre-purchase them, and I pre-purchased a Steam Link controller combo, as well as a second controller so my son and I can play my Steam library on my TV. I'm pretty excited about this. In addition, you can also buy Steam machines now, and you can go do it straight through Valve. The Steam controller, if you haven't seen it, is really weird. It's got a directional stick, just like most controllers. And it's got a D-pad, but the D-pad is huge. And it also serves as like a trackpad. So you can use it to control things like a mouse. And then on the right-hand side, they don't have a second stick. They only have the one stick. But on the right-hand side, they have another trackpad like you would use on a laptop. And it's small and round, and you use it with your thumb. And it's supposed to be pretty cool. I haven't touched one because I don't live in a place where I would be able to go to and see these systems being used. But it looks cool, and I'm really interested as to how it plays. Like, Valve is saying that you can use these controllers in order to play games that are specifically designed for mouse and keyboard. On the other buttons on the controller, they've got a Valve button, kind of like the Microsoft Home button on the Xbox 360. They've got a Start and a Select, which is it looks like a play button, and then a reverse button. Then they've got the 4 face buttons, the A, B, X, Y, although, and they've even stolen the same colors from Xbox. Then, on the top, they've got the 2 shoulder buttons, which are both digital and analog, so you can squeeze it a little and then if you squeeze it far enough, it'll click, just like any other controller. But then they've also added the grip buttons. So you're holding the controller in your hand, and like your ring finger and your pinky finger are holding onto the controller, and your other fingers and thumbs are available for the rest of the buttons, but your pinky and ring finger also have things that they can click as well. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to try it out. You can get them, the Steam Link, which basically, I've talked about it on previous podcasts. You can hook it up to your TV, and then you can stream games from your computer to your TV. Now that's $50, and it has 2 USB ports, which you can then hook those up directly to any kind of controller that you want, or you can use the Steam controller. I got the Steam controller because I got a lot of buttons that use not buttons. I got a lot of games that use the mouse, and I'm looking forward to playing those games on my TV. Games like Civilization 5. I think that would be fantastic to play lean back on my couch with my feet up. I think that'd be great. And currently you can't do that unless you've got a loud computer hooked up in your TV room, and then a keyboard and mouse, which then you're leaning forward anyway. That doesn't seem comfortable to me. I'm pretty excited about this, and I have over 200 games in my Steam library thanks to Humble Bundle and Steam sales. It's going to be really great to be able to play these leaning back with a controller on my TV, so I'm excited about it. Now, the thing that you need to know is that they say that there are limited quantities, so make sure that you get over there while you can. In fact, if I go to Steam's site right now, that's not the button I wanted to push. I'm just curious if... if I open this up... Alright, it still says that some are available. So go ahead and order them if you want. And the controller by itself is $50. The Steam Link and the controller is available for $100. Now, the other part of this story is that the Steam machines are also available, and they are, I think the first ones come from Dell. Now, I thought that these were supposed to simplify gaming. So PC gaming is complicated. I mean, unless you buy an all-in-one system, it's kind of a hassle. You got to get the case, and then you got to pick the components and see what's the right stuff. Now, there are a lot of different price points for the Steam machines and a lot of different hardware configurations, which if you're going to do that, then this doesn't seem any different than anything else, except now you've got a machine that doesn't run Windows, so it's only for games. And if you're going to buy a machine that's only for games, then I guess you would just buy a console. Now, the Steam machine is supposed to be like a console, but it's complicated. It's like a complicated console. How's that for alliteration? So a while ago, there was a leak on Amazon where somebody had posted that you could get Terraria for the Wii U and 3DS, and it got taken down. A lot of people figured it was just a mistake, like somebody who was deciding what systems that you could order it on, and then they accidentally put in Wii U and 3DS. And then nobody said anything from, I think it's 505 Games, I can't remember. But nobody from 505 Games said anything for quite a while. Now, Terraria is a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, I want you to think about, it's like a 2D side-scrolling Minecraft with bosses, magic, and technology, where you dig up materials and use them to build your base, and then you go out and you fight a boss, and you bring back the stuff from the boss to build stuff to fight the next boss, but you can fight them in any order as many times as you want. It's a really, really good game. It's so good that I've already bought the game on the 360, the PC, and the iPod. iPad, sorry. iPod, weird. It's such a good game that I'm going to buy it again. I'll probably end up picking it up for the 3DS because it's portable, it has controls, and the 3D is going to look fantastic with that background. It has multiple layers of parallax in the background, so that's going to look really good popping out of the screen in 3D. I highly recommend that you check it out. It's a very amazing game. I actually played it before I gave Minecraft a shot, and it's the reason that I ended up checking out Minecraft. As if that weren't enough, it looks like Xeodrifter, which is a Metroidvania game, is also going to come to the Wii U. Xeodrifter it's a side-scrolling action game where you have to traverse the land. I've heard that it's really good, but the developer made some strange choices, like after you beat a boss, you can't save until you get all the way back to your base. So you end up having to fight through a bunch of stuff, and you have to start over again if you die. That's kind of irritating. I'm really happy to hear that independent developers are supporting Nintendo hardware. Both the Wii U and 3DS are amazing systems that just don't get enough love from third parties. Star Wars is like one of my favorite. It's my favorite universe. I love I love learning about things that happen in the Star Wars universe. I play a tabletop game called Edge of the Empire. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but in Star Wars. I've played every Star Wars MMO. I loved Masters of Terry-Kai, which was for the PlayStation forever ago. And Star Wars games are usually something that I invest in. There's a new Star Wars game coming out. I found out about this a couple days ago. And I don't usually talk about mobile games. So when I do, you know that I must be pretty stoked about it. Kabam is putting out a new Star Wars game. But the reason I'm talking about this game is because it's part of canon. So the story for this particular game is approved by Disney. They've given their thumbs up. And it takes place after Episode 6, but before the new Star Wars movie. Now, I guess I wonder what kind of game it's going to be. Kabam is pretty famous for making free-to-play online strategy games, but when I look at the screenshots, it doesn't feel like it, and that type of game doesn't seem like the best vehicle to get the story out there. The screenshots, it looks like a top-down RPG, and I hope I'm right about that, because that would be really, really cool. I also hope it's not a free-to-play game. Kabam usually makes free-to-play games, and I don't want this to be free-to-play. I'm hoping for something a bit more substantial. I don't want to have to have it be one of those games where if I want to find out the rest of the story, then I need to pay another $1. The story that there was an announcement trailer. You can check out that at runjumpstomp.com. It's called Star Wars Uprising, and the announcement trailer doesn't show any gameplay, but it shows like some CG of this dude who clearly loves the Empire, and he's basically using propaganda to convince people that the events of Return of the Jedi didn't happen. So he's saying things like, the Emperor's not dead, the rebels didn't destroy the Death Star, they are lying to you. I find I didn't see that angle coming. It's surprising and it's interesting. And I think that this game is going to be, well, I don't know if it's going to be fun or not. The idea that it's coming from Kabam has me worried. But the story seems interesting, and I'm interested in that. So hopefully the story seems interesting, and I'm interested in that. I can't believe I just said that. Hopefully the game is good. Now, I know that I've said this before, but I don't know what in-engine footage means. Does it mean that the game... does it mean that the footage is in-game footage and this is what the game will actually look like? Or does it mean that it's pre-rendered footage that use the game engine to make it? I suspect it's the latter, and I'm fine with that. But if it's just pre-rendered footage, then don't say in-engine footage, because honestly, who gives a crap? Pre-rendered footage is pre-rendered footage. That if the game isn't going to look like this, then don't try and get me to think that it is. Now, the game that I'm talking about is Bard's Tale 4, which is on Kickstarter. They showed a video of in-engine footage, and it looks beautiful. It looks really, really good. You can see the video at runjumpstomp.com. There'll be a link there to it, or I think it's embedded on the website in the article I wrote. The game looks really good. I'm looking forward to Bard's Tale 4. But this whole thing of calling stuff in-engine footage, I just don't understand what that means. Do you know what it means? If you do, let me know. Send an email to runjumpstomp@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter. This week on the long play, I want to talk about Splatoon some more. I haven't yet beat the game, but I think I'm getting pretty close. Just a couple of thoughts about it. First off, go out and buy it if you've got access to it. It's fantastic. Secondly, the 3-minute timer is awesome. It is the absolute perfect amount of time. You can sit down and play a game in 3 minutes and be done. And that's fantastic. It really gets you that one more round kind of feeling. It encourages you to play again because you know that the game's going to be over in 3 minutes. And if you're getting beat real bad, you know the game's going to be over in 3 minutes at the most. I also would recommend that you play single player first. I played through the multiplayer first, and then I went back to single player, and after playing the single player, I did much better on the multiplayer because I had time to get used to the motion controls. Now, you can turn off the motion controls if you want. I recommend you leave them on. I think that they're really good. I like them a lot, and they really give you a degree of control that I was surprised at. So definitely check that out. Now, ranked play is out. I haven't tried it yet, mostly because I know that I'm not good enough. I'm gonna get my butt kicked if I go in there, but I'm definitely going to check it out this week. I'm really happy with the way that Nintendo is rolling out the content for Splatoon as well. They're bringing it out slowly, and what that's going to do is it's going to keep people talking about Splatoon. So people are going to keep playing the game, and that means that it's going to last for quite a while. It'll give it some more headway. So definitely check it out. Now, the bad. If you can call it a bad, I would say the single player is short. I know I haven't finished it yet, but I'm close, and I can tell I'm close, and I haven't done it too much. The really bad is the newscasters. Please, dear God, I don't remember the name of the two newscasters. I'm doing the whole air quotes thing. But whenever you turn the game on, there's these two squid people, and they tell you the current matches, or not matches, the current maps that are available, and you can't skip it. Like, there is no skip this button. And the first time it was interesting, but now it's just irritating, and I can't stand... Like, when I turn it on, that's the first thing that happens, and I am just punching that A button as fast as I can to try and get past it. Please, Nintendo, get rid of it. Now, here's the question, though. Is that there to disguise a load time? If it is, then I understand why you did it. But honestly, it's annoying enough that I would prefer to look at a load screen, or give me that... there's a single player part of the game that when you're waiting for a match to start, you are like this little squid and you're jumping up, kind of like Doodle Jump, if you've ever played it on like iPhone or iPad or whatever. Let me do that instead. Don't make me listen to these newscasters talk, because it's not good. Everything else about the game is awesome, though, so go play it right now. All right, this week on Wishlisted, it's Fallout 4. See, now you thought that I forgot, but I didn't. Fallout 4 is finally coming. You can pre-order it on Steam. It's coming to PC, Xbox One, and PS4. They have announced that it will not be coming to Xbox 360 or PS3, and I'm fine with that. You gotta cut it off someplace, and it's also not coming to the Wii U, probably because the Wii U is not powerful enough. The same reason it won't come to 360 or PS3, and I'm also fine with that. Now, Fallout 4 is Fallout is one of my all-time favorite series. I played the first one years ago. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. Nuclear war has pretty much reset civilization. And what happened is we saw the missiles coming and we locked ourselves in vaults for decades. And then once the radiation is safe, the vaults automatically open and the protagonist steps out. Now, every time you've played a Fallout game, you've played a different character. So, like, the story of Fallout 1 does not necessarily link to Fallout 3 or whatever. They don't go together, actually. They take places in different parts of the world, and they just all have a similar thing. The world is in shambles, and you have to try and survive. The original game was a 3/4 view with sprites, and it was a turn-based RPG. It's still really fantastic if you've never played. I just rebought the first and second one on Steam because they had a sale for $5. If you've never played it, definitely check it out. You design the character from the start, just like any other RPG, so you pick all the stats and the perks. Now, perks are the differentiation, other than the setting for this particular role-playing game. Some perks might mean that you're far more likely to get the opposite sex to do what you want, but at the cost, members of the same sex will hate you. So things like that. Every perk is going to have a pro and I think every perk has a pro and a con that go with it. So there's a lot of really cool decisions for you to make on your character as you level up. Now, Fallout 3 continued not the style of the game, but it continued the style of the game, but it did not continue the same type of game. So while the first one and second one were basically turn-based RPGs, the third one was a shooter. Now, the shooter engine when they did Fallout 3, they used the Oblivion engine, Oblivion being the Morrowind games. They used the Oblivion engine to build Fallout 3, and it was not designed for a shooter. So they kind of tacked on the VATS system. Now, VATS, which I forget what it stands for, basically let you pause combat, and it would bring up a zoomed-in version of the enemy that you were fighting, and you could say, all right, well, I got a 38% chance to hit the arm and a 51% chance to hit the torso, so I'm going to aim at the torso. So it took that turn-based part and brought it into a shooter. Most people looked at that and said, oh, this is going to be really bad, but it worked really, really well. Now, I think that they did it to avoid the bad shooting mechanic that would have come with using that engine. I hope that the VAT system moves forward in with this one. The combat was fun, it was difficult, and it was very, very gory. Now, I can do without the gore. I don't like gore, but I put up with it because the game was fantastic. The story was top-notch for Fallout 3. The world was immersive and engrossing. You have to manage your inventory. That's the one thing that I hate, but I hate that about every game. I put up with it because I was having so much fun. You can interact with just about everything in the world. So everything in the world you can pick up and put in your bag and take with you. So I can understand why they want to have an inventory management in the game. In Fallout 3, when you interact with the world, it actually did change the world based on the choices you made. Like, there might be a town that gets destroyed if you do one thing, where it might be your base if you do something else. Pardon me. This left the game open to a lot of playthroughs. I don't think that's a real word, but playthroughs. And so things would be different for you each time you played. Well, now that Fallout 4 is officially announced, you can watch the video at runjumpstomp.com. It looks really cool. The graphics look fantastic, although it feels a little, I don't want to say clean. The last Fallout 3 looked kind of gritty. Even the stuff that takes place in Fallout 4, like, okay, so in the video for Fallout 4, why don't you pause the video or pause the podcast, go watch the video. Did you do that? Great. This is the second time that I've asked you to pause stuff today. I'm sorry. So in the video, they kind of go back and forth between when the player is playing and the nuclear holocaust. And they go back and forth in time, and they show the same place before and after. Now, in the before, everything looks clean and very nice. And after, everything looks terrible and bad. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But Fallout 3 just felt grittier than Fallout 4 does. And I'm not sure why that is. I almost feel like it's a stylistic choice with the type of graphics that they're going for. It looks really good, and I was happy to see that there was a dog, so welcome back, Dogmate. Well, that's it for the show this week. Make sure that you tune in next week. I'm going to be interviewing Don Thacker. He is the director of Star Mazer, who I talked to their musical director a couple weeks ago. So definitely check that out next Tuesday. You'll be able to listen to that. If you want to be part of the show, you can get a hold of me at runjumpstomp@gmail.com. You can also call in at 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. You can also find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at RunJumpStomp. Now, if you have a question that you want me to ask Mr. Thacker, sorry about that. If you have a question that you want me to ask him, definitely get a hold of me through those avenues. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.